Okay, so on your Algebra CFU, you're going to be asked to look at graphs that look like this, and you're going to be asked to interpret some things in context, meaning you're going to be asked you're going to be shown some different statements about the situation that the graph is trying to represent, and you're going to be asked which one of those statements is true. So let's practice looking at an equation, looking at a scatter plot, a line of best fit, and thinking about writing some true statements about these situations. So the first thing that I always look at is the units. So I'm going to be looking at the units on the y-axis. In this case, it says US CD sales in millions. And the units of the x-axis, in this case, year. So we have like 2010, 2015, 2020. So this would be like current modern day. And just try to think about what the overall story of the situation is. So I'm going to start by just typing the overall story of the situation, which to me is saying that as time has gotten greater, so as time has gone on, the number of US CD sales has gone down, which makes sense, right? Like when I was in high school, people still bought CDs, like a physical CD to put in like a CD player, and I'm sure none of you actually buy CDs. Now we have like Spotify and YouTube, and we get our music on our computers. We don't need to buy CDs. So over time, CD sales in the US have decreased. Makes sense. In the year 2020, it looks like we're at about 0 CDs sold. Okay. Whereas in 2010, there were about 250 million CDs sold per year. I don't know why I capitalized that. Okay, so let's talk about this equation. This equation is for the line of best fit, which is this like straight gray line you see that is attempting to fit these scatter points on the graph. So it has a slope of -29, which shows the number of CDs sold decreases by 29 million each year. And it has the y-intercept of 368, which shows this value here. So I think this is the year 2008, and it shows that there are 368 million CDs sold in that beginning year. That initial value would be 368 million. Beginning with the y-intercept, our y-intercept of 368 means that in the year 2008, so that initial value, it looks like there were about 400 million CDs sold. And the 400, even though it looks like 400 on the graph, it's just under 400, so the value is actually 368, which I can tell from the y-intercept. So in the equation, and kind of on the graph, we can see that in 2008, there were 368 million CDs sold. I'm just going to put in parentheses here, that's like the initial value. So that's at the beginning of time, according to the graph, which is 2008, that's how many million CDs were sold. So the y-intercept is always going to represent some kind of initial or starting value. That's a good thing to keep in mind for the CFU. Y-intercept always represents some type of initial value. Okay, next up, let's do the slope. So our slope we can see in the equation, the slope is -29. Slope is the number, the coefficient in front of the variable. So our slope of -29 means that, and the slope is always going to represent some change over time. So it means that every year, in this case, because the unit is years, the number of CDs sold decreased by 29 million. So hopefully, yes, the slope always represents some change. Hopefully, the more practice we do, the more examples of this you see, the more you'll see the patterns in these problems, where the y-intercept always is representing the initial value in every situation, every equation. It's some starting or initial value. And the slope is always representing some change, some incremental change, meaning like a change each year, or a change each month, or a change each day, some change over a period of time. Okay, so you're done with this video. Answer the 2 CF questions below and then move on to example number 2. Thanks for watching.